What is going on, guys? It is SJB Santos, social media manager here at Bosco Esports, and today I am very excited to bring you guys the very first casting of our League of Legends postseason. Now, being in the postseason means that every single game that we play is super high stakes. If we lose, we're out of the bracket completely and we're out of playoffs. If we win, we move on and get a higher ranking in the state. Today's a little bit special. We are going against the Indy E6ers, and I'll elaborate a little bit on why exactly this is so special further on in the video. But without further ado, we're just going to go ahead and dive straight into it, and I'll see you guys after the intro. Alright, and we are just about loaded in here. Looking at our team right now, we do have Jackie Love in the top lane on his famed Aatrox. We've seen him play a few games before on that champion, and he does excel on this champion, so it should be a very fun game to watch. He is up against the Nasus, which is known to be a passive farmer. So as long as we know how to play against this Nasus, we should be just fine in the top lane there.
30 seconds until minions.
So, you know, the further he stacks on farm, the stronger he gets. So it's very important to not let him stack a little bit. Hold that thought. We are seeing a little bit of engage here in the top jungle, but Roberto is just going to go ahead and queue his way out of that. So yeah, looking at the jungle matchup, the opposing jungler for Indy E6ers is a Xin Zhao, very strong, especially with his ultimate, able to isolate any targets. As for our side, we do have Rigoberto on the Kayn, very, very good at ganks, so a lot of gank potential here on the side of Bosco. Kaysen in the mid lane on Vex. Now, that's a unique pick. I don't think I've seen Kaysen actually play on this champion before. I'm not too sure. But then again, Kaysen is Kaysen, so I'm just going to go ahead and trust in his judgment and what he thinks is best. Opposing mid laner does have a Lissandra. A lot of team fight potential there for the Indy E6ers. Lissandra has a lot of unique abilities. Really helpful for her team, able to isolate a target by either R'ing them or maybe just diving into a team and R'ing herself to cause a slow onto the entire team and a little bit of overtime damage. So really, really good team fight ability there from the mid lane. Looking at the bot lane matchup here on the screen, we do have Vayne and Leona against a Jinx and Lulu. Aiden on the Leona, Gabe on the Vayne. We've seen Aiden on Leona several times. I think we've seen Gabe a few times on the Vayne, but not too often, so I'm not sure how this is going to go. The enemy team getting a really good engage here onto Bosco, able to take Aiden down just to about 25% HP. Same thing with Gabe. Bad trade there, but it is just the beginning of the lane. They should be able to heal up with that relic shield that Leona's got just fine. They do have 3 potions in total in the bot lane, and we do still have a heal spell from Gabe still up, so nothing too dangerous to worry about there. Look at the mid lane now. There are some exchanges going on between Kaysen and the mid laner. Lissandra going down to just a little bit under 25% HP. Going to heal up with that corrupting potion she's got on there, but Kaysen doing a really good job at pressuring that. Now, looking at the jungle here on the map, we see that Roberto is on the blue side, while Xin Zhao has just made his way down to the red side. Potentially meaning that we could be seeing a gank or a dive possibly, considering how low this Nasus is. Perhaps to dive, maybe Kayn will just make his way down bot lane, apply some pressure there, maybe secure the Scuttle Crab, but it looks like Xin Zhao was much closer to that objective than Roberto. So, enemy bot lane seems to have coming back with a sword and more pots. Lulu coming in with a boot. And Gabe now ahead in CS down in bot lane. Both junglers just about clear their camps, but Kayn at a level advantage over the Xin Zhao. We see Aiden here in the bot lane taking bush pressure, I guess you could say. You know, just making sure that the enemy knows that he's there so that they're not able to farm as comfortably as they would be if he wasn't applying that pressure for a possible engage at any time. We do see the Xin Zhao in the bot river. Now, he could either be planning a gank or he could be securing the Scuttle Crab right there. Mid lane getting a little bit spicy there. Kaysen almost getting a kill, but Lissandra does have that E ability, which is very handy for either engage or disengage. So he's going to be able to get out of that just fine, but is forced to back, and that allows Kaysen to make a push towards the mid lane and, you know, make Lissandra miss a wave or two of CS. So we see Xin Zhao getting relatively close to the bot lane, but looks like they noticed that both Gabe and Aiden are backing off here. So Xin Zhao just going to go and farm his his frog down there. Top lane still pretty passive as ever, but we do see that Jackie Love is 37 CS against this Nasus's 14 CS. So he's doing a really good job at kind of just preventing any sort of or too much farm, not any sort of farm, because he does have about half of Jackie Love's CS, but doing a really good job at making sure that he doesn't get too many stacks before it gets out of control. Now, for those of you who don't know what I mean by stacks, Nasus has an ability in which every time he uses his Q, which is essentially just an empowered auto attack, and he kills a monster, now that could be minions or jungle monsters or anything of the sort, he gets a little stronger. Now, Jackie Love actually able to force a flash out of there from Nasus at just 5 minutes in, so that's very big, opening a huge window there for a potential gank up there. But going back to my explanation, every time that Nasus does get a kill on a monster, whether that be a minion or a jungle monster or a larger monster on the map, or even a champion, if he gets a kill with that ability, he gains what's called a stack. Now, every stack adds a little bit more damage to his Q, so if he continues to farm those stacks, he could potentially take control of the game by himself and just 1v5. But luckily, it does look like Jackie Love knows how to play against this type of champion who just kind of stacks infinitely throughout the game. So I don't think it'd be too much of a problem, especially if we start putting up some pressure, some jungle pressure there up top. But yeah, aside from that, Kaysen doing really, really well in the mid lane, especially for us not having seen him on Vex before. He's getting some really, really good trades off against Lissandra, even forcing her to back once or twice. Now, it looks like, take a look at the bot lane here. We are letting this bot lane push, getting some relic shield procs off, trying to get that that support item upgraded as soon as possible so we can start getting some wards around the map. And it's just easy farming right now for bot lane. Looks like the enemy bot lane is backing up a little bit, will back just to get a few items. Vex and Kayn getting some pressure or some vision, I would say, on the Dragon Pit. I don't think they'll be doing it just yet, but Xin Zhao is just at the entrance of his jungle, which means that he does notice where the Vex and Kayn both are. So enemy team knows where the mid and jungler are. See if they make any plays around the map. Doesn't look like they will. They do have a ward there on the top half of it, but looking at the top right now, Jackie Love getting a little bit of an engage onto the Nasus. Nasus slowing Jackie. Now that slow, you know, as it progresses throughout its duration, it actually gets even worse. By worse, I mean, you know, it makes you slower. So it's relatively easy for Nasus to disengage. Kaysen actually ulting into the Lissandra, but Lissandra times it just right and is able to ult any damage away from her. Now it looks like she's actually going to go in completely. Kaysen getting relatively low. This could be really close. Yeah, force a flash. Kaysen does manage to stay a little bit overestimating of his abilities, but is able to get Lissandra down to a decent amount of HP with her ultimate. Xin Zhao trying to make his way there. Ooh, Kaysen accidentally stopping his back, which puts him vulnerable to the gank. But Roberto coming in mid lane with an answer of his own. Lissandra flashing just a little bit too early, and Kayn does get the kill. Looks like Xin Zhao's going to hopefully try to come in, gets the Kayn airborne. Roberto goes in for an auto attack, gets him really, really low, and yeah, gets dove under the turret. Xin Zhao able to pick up a 2-for-1 exchange there in the mid lane, unfortunately. Hopefully we do shut down that Xin Zhao. Jackie Love getting a little bit too overconfident here under tower, taking about 3 or 4 turret shots there. Kind of risky, dangerous there, but not the worst as long as he just plays that safe and heals up. Looking at the bot lane now, we are just about getting... Oh, top lane. Nasus has ulted, but looking at his mana, he doesn't have the damage nor mana necessary to finish off the Jackie Love here, so he's just going to be able to walk away just fine. Maybe even walk back into the lane and secure that cannon right there. Unfortunately, Nasus does have about all his HP back. Every time he does get a strike from his Q, the same ability that gives stacks, he also gets a heal, which is what makes that champion so powerful. Every time his Q gets stronger, the heal gets stronger, and the damage gets stronger. So it's a very, very dangerous champion to play against, and JackeyLove seems to be knowing what to do in this situation, though. Xin Zhao coming up in the top lane, goes to try, flashes in. Aatrox flashes out. That is a 1-for-1 flash right there. Not the worst exchange. And since we did know that Xin Zhao was in that top side, Kayn is free to secure that dragon objective for Bosco. It's like bot lane has just about reached the point where all 4 of its laners have reached level 6. Potential for 2v2 fights down there in the bot lane now. Xin Zhao coming up top to try to protect his top tower along with his laner. Doesn't look like he'll be pursuing anything else, so he does know that Aatrox is very strong. He has 82 CS, about a 50 CS lead on the enemy Nasus. So Aatrox is definitely nothing to underestimate despite being low HP. Let's take a look at the map here. We do have mid priority for the Indy Sixers. Oh, bot lane actually starting to engage. Roberto coming in through the wall. Leona missing her ult just slightly, and unfortunately Bosco won't be able to do anything with that engage. Lulu is forced to pop her ultimate though. Try to get a little bit of extra HP on the Jinx. Oh, but Aiden actually gets a stun on the Jinx. Vayne attacking, gets that W proc off. Forced to flash and a heal. Overall, super worth. Actually managed to get a flash from both the support and the ADC there. So just about 3/4 of all summoner spells used up there. Looks like they're not done there though. They're actually forcing into E6ers. They're forced, gets stuck onto the wall. Xin Zhao coming in, trying to help his team out. Jinx actually manages to stay alive for some seconds. Kayn cleaning up 2 kills, but it doesn't look like Bosco will be able to finish this up neatly. Gabe forced to retreat through the blue side, and that is a 2-for-2 exchange in the bot lane. JackeyLove getting stronger by the second, able to force out a little engage there. That W is seeming to become more and more ineffective as time goes on there. But yeah, unfortunately, that Xin Zhao was there to counter gank the bot lane and able to get 2 kills in return for the 2 kills that Bosco got on the bot laners. Lissandra going in on Kaysen there, pops the ultimate, confident that he can kill him. Kaysen gets the ignite off the ultimate and does way too much damage. Certainly much more damage than that Lissandra was expecting for going in there. And that is a solo kill for Kaysen. Really, really good outplay there. So really, really good job. Kaysen able to apply a little bit more pressure onto the mid lane. Xin Zhao forced to go from Raptors to the mid lane. Bot lane, it's starting an engage. Seems that this Jinx, that Lulu is going to go down. The W procs are just too strong. This Jinx can't do anything, just going to keep getting stunned over and over again, making that free kills for the Vayne. And Bosco, bot lane, gets a 2-for-0. Excellent, excellent play there. That means they do have bot priority. The dragon is up in about... Well, I'm not sure exactly how long until the next dragon, but let's give bot lane priority. Going to go ahead and sweep some wards off there. Go ahead and secure the vision for that bot lane there. Looks like we do have JackeyLove and Roberto up in the top lane, anticipating a fight. And it's quite possible. We do see that Roberto does have the Rift Herald, so he could potentially place that down and make a really strong push for this outer turret here. We do see that Nasus is relatively low HP, so could be very dangerous if the Sixers don't play this right. We see Kaysen making his way up towards the top lane, kind of circling around. Looks like he's going to go ahead and go back mid. Nasus is going to make his way back to his base, and Xin Zhao is just going to creep back into his jungle. Nothing major happening over top lane just yet, but this game is certainly not short of excitement. We do see plenty of fights going across the map. Bosco up about 2,000 gold at 13 minutes into the game, up 6-4 on kills, up an objective on the dragon, or you could say 2, considering that we do have the Rift Herald. So Bosco doing relatively well in comparison to the Sixers. We do see Lulu in the bot side of that mid rush. Maybe was planning a gank, but Kaysen playing it smart, backing up just a little bit. Bot lane making a push out. We see top lane Nats is going to head and take advantage of JackeyLove's absence. Go ahead and push out his wave just a little bit, get some damage in the tower. Bosco balling, discovering that red ward, clearing that, making sure that Kane does have an opportunity to go ahead and come balling unnoticed. But yeah, nothing major on the map right now. Xin Zhao on his red side, Kane on his blue side, despite not having any camps. Looks like he's actually just going to go straight to top lane. Now, with Aatrox's current stats, I guess, right? 118 CS, it is very possible. Oh, okay. So Roberto actually popping a Rift Herald down there. This should be more than enough to go ahead and take down this turret here. Nash is trying to do whatever he can. Does get hit by the slow. Aatrox going a little bit in, but Lissandra, we see that Lissandra popping that TP bit. It's going to be a 3v2. The exhaust goes onto the Aatrox, has to flash out. Unfortunately, but looks like in the mid lane, Vex actually managed to stop this teleport from Lissandra. Balling going to have a little fight of their own. Top lane actually cleaning up the 2v2. Lissandra teleport gets stopped, giving a little bit of a window there for Kane and the Aatrox to go ahead and finish that fight. Bosco gets a 3-for-0 on the map across. Xin goes down, Nasus goes down, Lulu goes down, and Bosco able to make a free push there on the top tier 1 turret. Absolutely amazing macro. Sorry, micro, I guess, technically, since we aren't having a, big team fight. But just across the map, just excellent plays going on from Bosco here. Very, very clutch of Kaysen to go ahead and prioritize to stop Lissandra's teleport. Surely if that went off, then top lane would have gone down, presumably without even a kill. So Kaysen coming up clutch there in that fight. Jackie Love putting out all the damage just as usual, and Roberto with his calling there, just able to make a play towards that tier 2 top tower with the Rift Herald, able to utilize it, put it to good use. And Bosco, now having priority over the map, decides to start the dragon. You see that Xin Zhao is taking the blue side there. He does know that they're there. Roberto looking for a fight. Lulu forced to not only ult, but slash over the wall. 2 major spells down. We see that we do have, well, for those of you that don't know, we are in the preseason stage of League of Legends, which means that there are new dragons available on the map. Now you see that there is a little bit of green covering there, and some, I guess you could say, fog, smoke. When that is on the ground, anyone inside is considered to be in the fog of war, which means that you cannot see them, providing perfect cover. Kane forced to ult into the Zane, get a little bit of heal off, able to walk away just fine though. But going back to my explanation, that little green toxic substance on the ground and the fog surrounding it means that when you stand inside of it, you are considered to be in the fog of war. You cannot see each other unless you have a red ward in that space. Normal wards do not work, so this could potentially be an advantage for Bosco if they could utilize this new mechanic of the game. We could potentially set up some plays here, but Bosco just about taking down every single tier 2 turret on the map. Up 6,000 gold, 17 minutes in, up 5 kills, 2-0 dragons, and I imagine any future Rift Heralds will also go to Bosco. It's like Bosco slowly but surely taking control of the map. Go ahead and sweep any wards that they might have in their jungle. Being able to apply some pressure on her by herself now. Looks like the mid laners have made their way to the bot lane. 3 enemy members mid. Roberto able to just get some free damage. You gotta love that about Kane. I mean, he's just able to go through any obstruction on the map and just, throw a W out there that you may be under turret, and he'll be just fine. He won't be able to get hit at all because he's in the wall outside of turret range. So really, really interesting strategy to play there. Bosco making a push for this mid lane. Xin Zhao hesitant to go in. He does know that the Aatrox is there. He knows exactly what this Aatrox is capable of. So he's a little bit hesitant about that. Kane has to be careful here. He is alone. Gets polymorph, gets ulted by the Lissandra, and unfortunately he does go down, giving up about 200 gold in his bounty. Roberto getting a little bit caught out there. Have to be more careful about where you are. Reminder, he was in the center of that toxic substance, so he wasn't able to see exactly what was around him. But if you can't see what's around you, then you shouldn't be there in the first place. So hopefully he learns that a little bit more as we continue on to the games, but nothing too big. We are still ahead by about 5,000 gold. just 18 minutes in. We do have 4 more kills, 2 more objectives. Vex actually going in, doing huge damage with the ultimate alone. Gets the ignite off Lissandra down to about 25% HP. Unfortunately, that E does give her excellent disengage. She's able to just walk right on out of there. We do see that Jinx and Lulu are making their way towards the Vex. Lissandra getting a little bit more comfortable, kind of baiting that out. But Kaysen seems to realize what they are planning to do, backs off, and goes ahead and goes back to base. Smart retreat there by Kaysen. Don't want to give up any free kills. Now, looking at the mid lane, Aatrox applying some pressure by himself. Vayne going ahead and take some jungle camps along with the red buff, very commonly given to ADCs when they're doing very well in the game. And which Gabe is, you know, he's over 30 CS up on his laner. He is 3-0-2. He does have a 500 gold bounty, so they got to be very, very careful about protecting the ADC. Looks like we have a 1-3-1 little situation going on here on the map. E6ers desperately trying to defend this turret, but oh, looks like we have a pause here. Looks like the Indy E6ers jungle is having a few issues here, so we're just going to go ahead and wait this out. Now, I'm not sure if I mentioned this earlier in the video. This game, or this series, I'm sorry, determines who gets into the top 8 of state. Now, if we win this game against the Indy E6ers, we will be up against, I believe, the number 6 team in the state. So a lot of pressure going up, riding on this game. Hopefully we do make it out as the top 8, or within the top 8, right? The next stop of the bracket. But yeah, a lot of pressure on these players, and they're doing really, really well. Just taking a look at the CS on the map, it is 142 to 108 in the top lane, 157 to 106 in the jungle, 149 to 158. A little bit of a disparage there, but not too much. Just about a 9 CS difference between Kaysen and the enemy mid laner. 185 to 158 on the ADCs, and supports don't necessarily matter, especially considering that they have different support items. They have different ways of upgrading their support items. So Leona just a few more CS than the opposing Lulu, but now that the match is back into play, Bosco has taken the tier 1 of mid lane, and E6ers know exactly where they are. Aatrox getting a little bit too confident there, taking a little bit more damage than he needed to, but able to get away just fine. Looks like Bosco's making their way down to bot lane and putting their attention onto the tier 1 of the bot lane. Sorry, a little bit of lag here. Just talking about what we recently saw. The Rift Herald, yeah, here we go. The Rift Herald is placed down. We see this is our second Rift Herald activation, and we are able to take that tier 1 with no problem at all. Lulu backing, making this a 4v3 for the few seconds that she'll be gone. Vex getting some really good damage up. I mean, she's just really good for poking from distance right there. So definitely an advantage towards Bosco, just able to slowly poke and whittle away at the enemy HP, and eventually maybe force a fight. Bosco retreating into the enemy blue jungle. Just going to go ahead and deprive them of resources, take anything that they can. We do see that there is a dragon up. I believe it's one of the new ones here. Yeah, I don't necessarily know what this dragon does, but any dragon is a good dragon. Any buff is a good buff. So Bosco taking up the 3rd Drake of the game, putting him at about 7,000 gold lead up against the Indy E6ers. NASA's slowly but surely trying to make his way back into relevancy, just farming his way away up top. Xin Zhao, sorry, not Xin Zhao, Kane putting up some pressure onto the bot lane, but does get ulted by the Lissandra. Ults away. Kaysen actually ulting into the enemy team's base onto the Jinx, gets her to about 1 HP. Unfortunately not able to finish that off, but able to apply some pressure there. Kane actually getting out of that engage there in the bot lane. We did see just before the camera swapped away that he did ultimate onto the Lissandra. It's going to give him a little bit of, you know, a period of time in which he is untargetable, and when he comes out, he does heal up just a little bit. So able to get away just fine there. Looks like Bosco is starting up the Baron. They do have the pressure to do so. Vex is lying in wait in the enemy red jungle, just in case there are any stragglers that try to come there and interrupt what's going on. We do see that the enemy team has noticed where the Vex is. Lissandra and Jinx in the top. Little like blast plan, just potentially trying to steal the Drake. But fortunately for Bosco, they are not able, and Bosco secures a Baron without any sort of engage. So they're able to just go back to base, home free, and make another push in a few seconds here with the Baron buff. So overall, really, really good position for Bosco to be in right here. Got about 22 minutes into the game. Just about an 8,000 gold lead for Bosco here. Nasus actually finds the Vex up in the top lane. And unfortunately, Vex might not be able to make it out here. Flashes away. Nasus flashes in. Aatrox teleporting up. Hopefully gets a kill back in return. But this Nasus has been free farming for a while here. He has the damage. Now it seems gets Lulu ulted after his ult ends. Vayne actually able to E him to the wall. And that W proc is way too strong. Gabe putting the team on his back right now and able to take care of that Nasus tank right there. Forced to ult from the Nasus. Not forced to ult. Nasus was already in his ult, but as soon as that ult ended, Lulu did ult the Nasus again. Kayn actually going in, ult onto the Lulu. Unfortunately, not able to finish off that kill. Does decide to retreat rather than go in because that Jinx did manage to put her traps in a place where it would be very, very difficult to get out of if you were to run into. Bosco making a push in the top lane. It is a 4v4 on the map right now. Both, Nasus is down. Vex just respawned. Won't be able to make it just a team fight if it does happen anytime soon. But Bosco slowly but surely applying pressure onto the Indy E6ers, just about breaching the Nexus towers. Looks like they do live to fight another day, though. Bosco decides to retreat into the blue jungle. Gonna go ahead and take some more farm. Aatrox does need to, I'd say, level up just a little bit. We did see how, you know, as I said before, Nash is the champion that if you leave alone, if you let him farm, he will get stronger by the second. We did see for a while there that Nasus was essentially isolated in the top lane, able to just bring down that huge CS gap that they had between Aatrox and Nasus to just about 12. So Nasus seems to be back in relevancy. We did say that he was outputting massive damage. He was really tanky. Now, fortunately for Bosco, they do have a tank shredder in the Vayne. They do need to play around Gabe heavily if they want to win this game. Nasus has gone to a point where essentially no one, unless they do decide to team up on him, even without the Vayne, it's going to be a little bit difficult. But the Vayne is the secret and the key to winning this game. That is our win condition. Protect the Vayne. Make sure that she stays alive throughout every second of that team fight to be able to output as much damage as possible. Kayn actually catching out the Lulu there, gets deleted in an instant. That ward bait seemed to have worked, and the Sixers are down a super, super important teammate there. That Lulu ultimate is super crucial towards keeping their teammates alive. Roberto applying some heavy pressure here in the mid lane. Gets a W onto the Nasus, does a good amount of damage there. And the Indy E6ers are just afraid to step into their own jungle. Now we do see a ping on the map. It looks like Bosco is making their way towards the Dragon. Dragon is respawning in about 5 seconds. Sorry, not 5 seconds. So considering the position of where the Indy E6ers are, it should be a free kill. Oh, Kayn actually going in, decides to 1v2 onto the Jinx. Onto the Jinx, gets a 1v2 kill. Managed to get the enemy ADC and gets off without dying. Kayn just putting an impressive amount of pressure up. They do see that Nasus is in this fog of war. Nasus burns his W. That means he does not have it disengaged. He has to flash out, but looks like this flash is on cooldown. This Nasus isn't even getting a chance to fight back. That is a 4-on-1, and the enemy threat is down. That essentially means that the rest of this team is easy pickings for Bosco. That Nasus was the wall between Bosco and ending this game. If they have a chance to do so, they have to end the game now. Before this Nasus respawns, before he gets a chance to farm, before he gets a chance to come back. Bosco is making a heavy push, gets the bottom inhibitor tower and the inhibitor itself, gets the mid inhibitor, presumably so right here. Yep, that is 2 inhibitors down, moving towards the 3rd inhibitor up there in the top. Looks like it's going to be easy pickings there for Bosco. Xin Zhao trying to make a play there. Lissandra goes in, R's herself. Unfortunately, not able to catch anyone out. Vayne getting a little bit low, does go down to the Jinx, but Vex getting a kill back onto the Lissandra and onto the Xin Zhao. It is now a 3v2 onto the enemy base of the Indy Sixers. This potentially stoppable for the Indy Sixers. Looks like Bosco will take the safe route and go ahead and back up. Make sure they regroup. They don't want to risk anything. They do know that that enemy Nasus is really, really strong right now. So backing up right here is the smart decision to play. Want to wait for their Vayne to come back up and just regroup with them. Go ahead and maybe make a push towards Baron and end with the Baron. But overall, I'd say really, really good patience from Bosco there. I would have been tempted to go ahead and end the game right there as it is, but the smartest thing to do is definitely to wait for your Vayne, your win condition essentially, to come back and fight with them. So 28 minutes into the game, Bosco still up, and now at just a little bit over 10,000 gold. We do have 4 dragons. That means the next one should be Soul if it does come to that point in the game. Baron is up, available for teams to pick up. Looks like Bosco's going to take the initiative. Enemy team and the Indy Sixers don't seem to pick up what exactly Bosco is doing. Either that or they do know and they are just forced to give it up. Looks like they're slowly catch whiff of what exactly happened, but it is much too late. Bosco able to secure a Baron for free. And this could be it. We do see that the Aatrox did pick up a I forget what it is. It's like an iron potion. It's essentially what you buy at the end game. So we're now at the point where this has to be the push. Bosco has 5 Baron buffs. They have their Vayne up and alive. They're all freshly coming back from base, aside from Kayn. So they're all full of mana. This is the best time to pick a fight. We do see Bosco slowly walking up through the mid lane. Kaysen making his way down to his bot lane. Baron buff on the super minions is allowing them to just go ahead and pick up that first tower for free. Xin Zhao trying to put a little bit of pressure, but just get caught out by the Aatrox. Fight going in. Everyone's ultimate is going off. Gets 1, gets 2. Xin going down. Lulu is down, not able to pop her ultimate. Vayne unfortunately does get caught out, but that Jinx is down. Nasus has to be focused or else to be able to heal up. But it looks like the output is just too much. And Bosco able to complete a victory against the Indy Sixers in game 1. Lissandra being the last one alive. Not much you can do there. There is a whole group of Baron empowered mega minions. Oh, but looks like it is a 1v1 situation here. Not exactly what we want to see. Bosco getting a little bit too confident there, stepping into the enemy spawn. Lissandra trying to clear out all these super minions by herself. A little bit hard to do when you're a mage and you don't have AD, and the super minions are going to go ahead and clean that up for them. So that is game 1. We'll be right back with game number 2. Bosco takes the lead 1-0. All right, we are loaded into game number 2. Talking about last game, that was some super impressive gameplay right there from Bosco. A lot of star plays there for sure. Unfortunately, that ending was a little bit rough. Not exactly how you would normally end a game, but the super minions did come up clutch there, and Bosco was able to take the first win of the game. Now, we do see that the enemy team is stacked up onto this red brush here. Roberto doesn't know that. Unfortunately, he is going to get caught out here, and that is an unfortunate start for Bosco. Looks like the Indy Sixers did take some notes on what happened last game. They did know that when Roberto is on the Kayn, he is keen towards invading a little bit, getting some information on the red side. So them stacking up there on the back of the red buff site, I guess you'd call it, it's a really smart thing to do, and it paid off. Indy Sixers able to get a 500 gold advantage there in the very first minute in the game, and pick up first blood. And having that first blood go towards someone like Nico, it's going to go ahead and put him at a little advantage there in the mid lane. Nothing too big, but really, really good start for the Indy Sixers. Looking at the matchup, looks like we have a same matchup of last game, a repeat of last game. In the top lane, we do have a Aatrox for Jackie Love and Nasus for the enemy side. Same thing in the jungle. We have a Kayn and Xin Zhao. We did repeat a pick there on the mid lane as well. We do have a Vex on Kaysen yet again, but the enemy team has opted to swap from Lissandra to Nico. Look at the bot lane. We do have a swap from both Aiden and Gabe. We have a Xayah and an Alistar collectively there on the bot lane, and the enemy team has opted to stay with the Jinx but swap out the Lulu for a Rakan, provide a little bit more peel for the team. They were lacking that. Lulu unfortunately wasn't able to get too much done in the last game, able to get heavy targeted and just essentially blocked out of the game, unfortunately. So not too much she could have done there. Opted to swap a little bit tankier of a support, a melee range, a little bit of actually mid lane getting a little bit overconfident, and Kaysen underestimating Nico's damage, able to get that first kill there along with the ignite from Nico. Unfortunately, Kaysen did flash. That just put us a flash down, and that Nico is 2-0 with a 150 gold bounty on her head. Now Kaysen needs to adjust. He knows exactly how strong that Nico is, so hopefully he does play a little bit different from here on out. Enemy jungler Xin Zhao went ahead and cleared his red buff, and the bot side jungle there on his side of the map is going to back and make his way towards the top lane. Potential gank there, either that or he's going to clear his camps there and make his way towards Scuttle, get a little bit of vision for his team there on the map. Roberto on the Kayn cleared his bot side, now on his blue side jungle. Looks like he's just about done clearing. And he might get to that Scuttle Crab first, depending on if this Xin Zhao decides to go right now or after he clears his camps. But looking at the way he is moving on the map, looks like that Xin Zhao is going to go ahead and immediately make his way towards the Scuttle Crab. He is engaged with it right now. Looks like Roberto has cleared his blue buff, has cleared his Gromp. He might notice where this Xin Zhao is. Looks like Xin Zhao going ahead and making a flank towards the top lane. But, ooh, Jackie Love getting a little bit too overconfident, tanks 2 turret shots. Gets a little bit of a heal there, forced to flash. He's not going to be able to get out, though. He does get slowed by the Xin Zhao. Or actually... Ooh. Oh, Jackie Love by the skin of his teeth. Almost making it out of there. Forced to flash. Does still get slowed by the Xin Zhao. But does dash out. Just provides a little bit more time for him. But unfortunately, the Xin Zhao does ultimately end up getting him, but luckily for Bosco, they are able to force a flash out of the Xin Zhao. So a little bit of pressure off on the jungle fights. Looks like Kayn is in a well-suited position there to start a gank in the bot lane. Hoping to bait that out just a little bit. It looks like Alistar is on his way back towards. We may see a fight down there. Doesn't look like it'll happen though. Looks like Kayn is actually going to make his way back to the base, and Xayah is just going to free farm this little wave here. Just a little stun off on the Jinx, a little bit more damage. But looks like the Alistar is back and keeping the ADC safe. Mid lane, Kaysen backing. Down just about 7 CS, nothing too big. But those 2 kills that Nico was able to get in the early part of the match does give her a large advantage. She is a level over Kaysen, which means she will be hitting 6 first, which is when you unlock your ultimate. So Kaysen has to be very, very careful about that possibility. Jackie Love letting the wave push. Looks like he realizes that there will be quite a bit of jungle pressure onto the top side this game, so he has to play accordingly. Taking a look at the bot side there on the map, we do see that Alistar and Kayn are making their way towards the mid lane, but looks like Nico picked up on that. Look at the screen right now. Jackie Love actually making a push towards this Nasus, forces him down. He actually has his ultimate level 6 already. That W wasn't enough to stop the Aatrox, and this should just be a free kill here. Forced to flash, just as good as a kill. So, force flash out of the Nasus. Jackie Love able to retake control of top lane. Still does have to play a little bit safe, knowing that this Xin Zhao does have his eyes set on that top side. Dragon is up. Looks like there is an Earth Drake right there. Bot lane does have Prio. This could potentially be a first dragon pickup for the Indy E6ers. They do know that Kane, or yeah, they should know that Kane is on the top side. They do have a ward up there in the top river, so they are relatively confident in picking up this dragon. And it should just be a free first dragon for the Indy E6ers. Now that information that pops up there on the screen does let Jackie Love know that Xin Zhao is on the bottom side of the map, letting him play a little bit more aggressive than he normally would. Bot lane making their way back into this stalemate here that we have going on in the bot lane. And mid lane, Kaysen has back, does have his ultimate. Both sides do have their ultimate there, so a little bit dangerous now for Kaysen. Has to watch out for that Nico ultimate. Bot lane looks like Xin Zhao is there. They do catch sight of him just in time and back off to not let that Xin Zhao get a flank off on that bot lane, and they are able to keep themselves nice and healthy. Xin Zhao retreating back into its blue side. Looks like Kane did invade the red side of the scene. Kick some camps away from there, and big damage coming out from the Nico there. Definitely have to watch out for that. It's gonna be very, very dangerous in the late game if they don't stop it soon. Aiden doing what he knows best, applying pressure from the bushes, not letting the enemy be as comfortable as possible. Nico flashes in under the tower, expecting a kill. Oh, bot lane Alistar does get a pulverized combo going on. He does get a stun off on the Jinx. This should potentially be a kill here for Gabe. It's getting relatively close. Flashes out. Jinx does end up going down. Xin Zhao coming in. He does not have flash though. Q's in. Oh, excellent, excellent push there from Aiden, playing out of his mind. Gets a kill onto, gets a stun onto the Jinx, pushes us in under the tower, turns around a gank that should have killed Gabe, and spoon feeds him 2 kills. Absolutely outstanding synergy coming in from that ball lane there. And Aiden is playing out of his mind right now on the Alistar. Excellent, excellent boon there. Xayah is able to go up 2-0, 200 gold bounty on her head. Kaysen deciding to go in with his ultimate on the Nico, but we do know that Nico does a lot of damage, and Kaysen overestimating his ability just a little bit, but luckily Roberto is there to pick up a kill. Pops the ultimate onto the aim in mid laner, and just one more auto should do it, and he should be getting out safely. That is a 1-for-1 exchange there in the mid lane. Fortunately, Kaysen is down 0-2 right now, down about 21 CS down in the mid lane, so he does need to play a little bit more carefully, a little bit more objectively, a little bit more logically. Luckily, we are able to pick up a little shut. I'm not sure actually if it was a shutdown. It should be a shutdown 3-0 on that Nico. Get a little bit more gold into our pockets, but bot lane in a really, really good position right now. That turnaround from Gabe, Gabe and Aiden, really, really well played there. Gabe popping his ultimate, dodging that Xin Zhao engage right there, and Aiden pushing the Xin Zhao under our tower and getting that extra damage off for Gabe to pick up a kill. That puts Gabe at 2-0 and does now put Gabe at a CS advantage over the enemy Jinx. So Bosco making the best out of a worse situation. Really, really good play. We do have the Rift Herald up on the map. Doesn't look like any team has any sort of warding on that side of the map. So pretty much free game right there. We do see that the Xin Zhao is on the bot side of the map. Kane is on his blue side. Ball lane, however, Bosco ball lane does have that river warded, so they should be relatively safe. They do notice that Aiden is in that middle bush, just applying some pressure there, unable to clear that ward, unfortunately, so they do know where exactly Aiden is. 10 minutes into the game, 3-4, just 1 kill under in the E6ers. However, we are a little bit over 1,000 gold ahead of them, so Bosco doing a really good job at doing what they do best. Jackie Love, same situation as last game, really, just applying a lot of in-lane pressure, able to dominate lane. Hopefully they do take a different approach to that Nasus. That Nasus really would have catch up a little bit in the late game. And unfortunately, that did provide a little bit of trouble for Bosco. So hopefully they do pay a little bit more attention to that top lane. Nico trying to go in here. Kaysen dodges a stun. Luckily avoids certain death. Looks like Indy E6ers do put a red ward into that bot river rush. Gets a ward out. Bot lane is now susceptible to any sort of ganks, but luckily for them, Xin Zhao is on the top side of the map. Roberto actually really, really close. This could be a potential 2v2 fight in the top lane. they do notice that Kane is there. Nasus pops his Ghost and his Flash, forced to use both Summoners, and Bosco gets away home free. Looks like he's going to apply a little bit more damage. Roberto actually going in for a kill here. He does know that Nasus does a lot of damage in that ultimate. He's going to try to back up just a little bit. Unfortunately, gets a little bit too overconfident in his abilities and does end up going down to a counter gank there by Xin Zhao. But the way the situation is right now, I don't think that I don't think that these two can kill Aatrox. Aatrox does have his ultimate. Looks like they're going to try to fight here. Xin Zhao quickly realizing his mistake as Aatrox just pumps out a lot of damage. Oh! Just one kill auto away there, unfortunately. Looks like we do have a little bit of a misplay there from Bosco. Unfortunately, Aatrox does go down 0-2 into lane. Nass is in a really good position there, 1-0-3. Is still down just about 50 CS, so Jackalope still should be able to retain lane dominance there, but just overall misplay there by the jungle and top laner along with mid lane. We did see there that Kaysen, yet again, did get a little bit too overstep just a little bit. Goes down to the Nico yet again, putting a 150 gold bounty on top of the Nico's head. Hopefully we do play a little bit different. We don't want this Nico to get too strong. She has a 30 CS advantage over Kaysen, a 4-kill lead, and she has quite a few items here. But looks like Bosco initiating the dragon here. Xin Zhao too far away to really make any sort of difference, and Bosco able to pick up a that is a wind dragon in return for the earth dragon that the Indy E6ers did manage to pick up below. As you saw here on your screen, the chem fog is now activated. We do have that mechanic on the map where that fog of war is surrounding certain parts of the map, which allow for plays to potentially be made in situations where they normally wouldn't be. So we do have that mechanic going on the map right now. We see Roberto pop his Rift Herald into the mid lane, get a little bit of turret plate gold for himself and Kaysen. But overall, Bosco just about tied up in gold, actually. Just noticed there right now. A lot of misplays going on right now. Hopefully Bosco cleans up their situation here. Nass is getting confident in his abilities. He is at a point in which Jackalope has been ganked quite a few times, enough to put Nasus back into the game. Well, he was never necessarily out of the game, but he was definitely behind in CS and just overall attack power against the Aatrox. So all that jungle pressure on the top side does allow that Nasus to get a little bit more confident, farm just a little bit more. But now that he has popped his ultimate, he has popped his W, there is nothing necessarily left for him to use and utilize in a 1v1. So potentially Aatrox does have the upper hand here, but we do see the Xin Zhao on the map there. He is on the top side of the map. So unfortunately, Jackalope does not know this, so he's going to keep playing aggressive. Hopefully he doesn't play so aggressive that it makes him susceptible to a gank, but we do see that Xin Zhao is now in the tri-bush of top lane. Looks like he's making his way around. Nass is putting a preemptive W on top of the Aatrox. Aatrox able to notice where they're at. Pops his R for a little bit more movement speed and able to get out, fortunately. Doesn't drop another kill down to the Xin Zhao or the Nasus, and Xin Zhao forced to retreat back into the jungle. Nasus just about out of mana there. Oh, Kaysen actually flipping this mid lane around, gets a lot of damage onto the Nico. Unfortunately, does miss 2 more abilities and able to finish the job there, but Nico at about 25% HP. Kaysen putting more pressure than expected on that bot lane. Oh, Roberto does have blue mode king, which means he's just able to assassinate any character on the map. Able to flash in and just instantly get that a kill onto that. Nico gets a assist for Kaysen there and a kill for himself. Bosco 1-0 in the mid lane. Looks like they are applying a little bit more pressure onto the mid lane there. We do see Kane retaining his position in mid. Rakan missing his engage onto the Alistar. Alistar getting a double pulverize there. Stun followed up by Gabe's ultimate, and unfortunately not able to secure a kill, but they do manage to get both summoners out of the Jinx. Overall, excellent exchange down in the bot lane. 154 CS to 129. Gabe is ahead. We do see that the Kane is lying in wait. Fortunately, Xin Zhao is there for the Indy E6ers to provide any sort of possible counter gank, and Kane is forced to back up. Bosco down in kills overall, but do retain a 1.2k gold lead. just trying to make up for that kill count there in objectives and CS across the map. Bosco playing a little bit better now. Kaysen was able to provide a situation there in which he was winning a 1v1 against the Nico. Hold that thought, top lane getting ganked by the Nico this time. We thought it was a Xin Zhao, but Nico's passive allowing him to change identities there. Aatrox, unfortunately, just a little bit too far ahead in lane. Doesn't look like he would make it out of that one, but bot lane, it would get a kill onto the Jinx. Aatrox somehow still alive. That lifesteal is absolutely insane on Aatrox as a champion. Fortunately, Kane does get a little bit too overconfident there. Looks like he's going to go down there in behind the tower of bot lane. Aatrox at a standstill here with both the Nico and the Nasus. Nasus does have flash. Nico doesn't. Aatrox does not have flash. Gets caught out by that little stun there, unfortunately, and does go down. But Bosco able to get a kill onto the enemy Rakan in return, in response to that top lane gank there. But I think that was a really good sign. I mean, that Aatrox was able to hold off two players on the enemy team for quite a while, and he actually almost killed both of them. Able to force a standstill there, and one of them is their 5-2 Nico, or I guess she was 4-2 before she did get a kill on that Aatrox. But Aatrox is really, really strong right now. I'm sure the Indy E6ers realize this, and they are probably going to apply a little bit more pressure onto top in regards to jungle. We do see that Xin Zhao is in his red side jungle, clearing his Krugs right now, probably his red, and may look to make a gank in the top lane there after he's done clearing. Kaysen slowly but surely closing that CS gap that he had there with Nico. Kane 2-3 on the map, 148 CS to 103 Xin CS, so doing really good in opposition to Xin. And we see a little bit of engagement in the top lane. That Nasus Q is getting relatively strong, but Aatrox lifesteal should be able to negate all that damage, hopefully. But the disparity in CS in that top lane isn't nearly as much as it was in the first game. 139 CS to 90 CS. Nasus is stacking up on his Q. Aatrox is able to do a little bit of damage there. Forces Nasus to waste his W, his disengage there. So a potential of engage there. Kane actually forcing that Nico to ult. Nico wastes ultimate before any sort of fight going on there. And bot lane able to secure that Drake relatively easily. They do retain all their ultimate abilities. They do have all their summoner spells to set something up there. And Bosco able to go 2-1 on Drakes. Pick up the Biochem Dragon, I believe it was called. Or the Chem Tech. I'm not sure exactly what that dragon is called. But they do pick up that new dragon and get a 2-1 lead over Indy E6ers in regards to objectives. They do notice that Nasus is in the topside blue jungle. They do have the map rotating towards him. Nasus pops his ultimate, sees he can fight back, but the entirety of Bosco is just on top of him, and Nasus goes down, overextending just a little bit into the enemy blue side jungle. Puts Bosco up on a number advantage there, 5-4 on the map. Doesn't look like the Indy E6ers will be able to provide any sort of stoppage to this Rift Herald, and Bosco should be able to get another objective onto the map. Up about 2,000 gold. 20 minutes in, 7-9. Looking at the CS count yet again, 145 Aatrox to 96 Nasus. Top lane popping a Rift Herald there. Should be able to take down that tower before anyone goes ahead and tries to protect it. Nasus is still dead, hasn't even gotten a chance to spawn back in. Doesn't have his teleport, so he won't be able to get back in lane in time. Rakan and Xin Zhao making their way up to the top lane, seeing if they could provide some sort of stoppage there, but Aatrox does get the kill on a tower before they even get a chance to protect it. Vex actually landing an R onto the Jinx and just immediately melts it. That Jinx is down for the count behind her tower. Indy E6ers down to 4 members yet again. Looks like we are in a 3-man push here in the mid lane. Rakan and Xin Zhao going to go ahead and try to make their way towards her. Hopefully put a stop to Bosco, but it doesn't look like they will. They don't have any sort of range, so Bosco able to pick up another tower just for free. Go ahead and clear the enemy Xin Zhao's camps there, making sure that he gets put as behind as possible. And Bosco comes out of there with several objectives. Gets a top tier 2, a mid tier 1, and a Rift Herald along with a Drake. So a lot of gold being pumped into the pockets of Bosco Esports. Looks like the gold advantage has increased to about 4,000 to this favor of Bosco. Slowly but surely widening the gap between the two of them. Nico doesn't seem to be doing nearly as much as she was in the first half of the game, fortunately for Bosco. Looks like Kane is clearing his bot lane. Xin Zhao in the top lane is trying to get whatever scraps he can remaining of his jungle. Rakan going through his bot lane, making sure that there aren't any leftover wards of Bosco. In there trying to regain some sort of vision control on their map. Xin Zhao with the warding Rakan as well. And map's at a standstill. Looks like there is pressure for Baron. Both sides do have members on that red side of the jungle there. They do know that Baron is at play here. Blue Kane able to get a little bit of damage onto the Xin Zhao for free. You know how Blue Kane goes. I mean, that movement speed is just insane when he's in the wall. So Roberto able to play freely on the map without too much worry there. Nasus applies a W onto the Aatrox, but won't be able to do much as the rest of Bosco is there to back up Jackie Love in case of any fight. Looks like all 10 players on the map are on that top side right there. They do know that this Baron as at play. They're trying to engage on the Aatrox. Aatrox forced to flash over the wall. Rakan mistakenly goes over. Nasus flashes over the wall as well. They get caught out. Oh, that Xin Zhao going instantly down. Unfortunately, Kane does get killed by the Jinx, but Aatrox still pumping out damage. Gets a kill to Rakan. Xayah does manage unfortunately go down. The Alistar goes down as well, and Bosco a little bit outclassed, outdamaged here, but may be able to turn it around. Oh, Kaysen actually coming in, making a huge play there, gets a kill and a lot of damage onto the remaining 2 members of Indy E6ers. Aatrox could potentially turn this around. Oh, unfortunately does get ultimate hit by the Jinx, and Bosco goes down 5-2-3. Unfortunately, that does mean that they aren't able to secure a Baron power play right there. And Indy E6ers is able to prolong the game just by a little bit longer. Go ahead and closing the gap down to about 1.7 thousand gold on the map from the original 4K that we had previous to that team fight right there. Unfortunately, a little bit of miscommunication there between Bosco and Xayah. Well, the carries were essentially one of the first to go down. Bosco isn't able to utilize their damage as much as they wanted to. Unfortunately, Kane and Xayah being one of their major damage outputs, unfortunately did end up going down first. But Kaysen didn't come up relatively huge with that ultimate. Did get a ton of damage on. Unfortunately, that Jinx was able to get the ultimate onto the Aatrox before he was able to clean anything up. So Indy E6ers did come up on top of there. Looks like Indy E6ers have caught Alistar just a little bit. Looks like they're going to fully engage onto that. Few ults going off, though. We do see Kane in the battle lane. Should be able to get a kill onto the Jinx. Jinx does go down. Alistar does go down. It's a whole 10 going down for Bosco, but able to get a kill onto Xin Zhao in return. Xayah and Vex go down, but this Aatrox is huge. He is level 13, gets a kill on to the Nico. Should be able to get a kill onto the Rakan as well. And that just means that Nash is left. Quadra kill coming up for Jackie Love. And Jackie Love should be able to get a penta here if he is able to land W. He lands it. Nash is forced to flash out, but Aatrox does have a good amount of movement speed. Gets W'd by the Nasus. Unfortunately, that withering is going to make him even slower. And is denied the penta kill, but fortunately for Bosco, they do have this powerhouse in the top lane. Jackie Love able to clean up, gets a quadra kill onto the enemy team. And from 0, I believe it was 0-2, 0-3, Jackie Love is able to come back up to a 5-4. Looks like he is solo taking Dragon for the Bosco blue side here. And Nasus looks like he's going to try to come in. Doesn't have a whole ton of mana, but he does have blue buff. I have to play this really smart. Oh, he misses the Q. Overestimates his damage just a little bit. Aatrox may go down here, dashes through the wall. That Alistar is there to kind of provide a little bit of cover for him. Jinx misses the R, and Aatrox able to ultimately come out of that with 4 kills and a dragon secured for Bosco. That is absolutely huge. Unfortunately, Bosco isn't doing nearly as well as we would have hoped in that team fighting aspect, but thankfully Jackie Love is able to clean up that team fight after, and Bosco able to keep their lead at about 2,000 gold. Still down just about 3 kills down to the Indy E6ers, but Bosco does have a 3rd dragon picked up under their belt, so hopefully this provides a little bit more of an advantage for them. Vex slightly just missing the ultimate. Jinx does get caught out though. That is a pulverize going down onto both the Rakan and the Jinx. Kane onto the Jinx. Jinx is down. Rakan going down nearly right after. And that is a two-player disadvantage for Indy Sixers is a potential Baron play right here for Bosco. They do catch out this Nasus. Nasus trying to recall, but does get stopped by the Aatrox. Kane getting a slow onto the Nasus. Doesn't look like they try to pursue that any further. They do know that Nico is in the bot lane. Xin Zhao isn't anywhere near the Baron. Nasus forced to come back because he is outnumbered. To go in and would just be essentially a waste. And Bosco able to pick up a Baron for free. Might have to give up that bottom tower. Looks like Nico is putting a lot of pressure onto the bot lane, but overall, getting a Baron, 5, not just any Baron buff, it's 5 Baron buffs on the map for Bosco should be huge. They should be able to make a really nice push with that. You see that Kane is trying to make his way down to the bot lane as fast as possible. Unfortunately, not able to save that tier 1. Or actually, that tier 1 might have actually been dead. But applying some pressure on the bot lane so that Nico self-pushing, nonetheless. We see on the map there, Bosco has a really good vision advantage here on the map. And you know what they say, wards win games, and that is not an exaggeration. Getting a little bit of more coverage on the map. Alistar does have red wards, does have his scanner. Enemy team trying to get regain vision control on the map as well, but a lot of pressure here from Bosco's side. They do have the King, which is able to just run in and run out whenever he wants. He does have that movement speed advantage whenever he is in an obstruction on the map. You see how fast he gets. Clearing wards across the map, making sure that the Indy Sixers do not know what their next move is. Bot lane, slowly but surely pushing into the tier 1 tower. We do see that Nico is lying in wait. Hopefully they are able to play this correctly. Doesn't look like anyone else on the map is down there in the bot lane for them to support Nico. So this should be a 2v1 fight, if it a fight at all. They know the Nico is there. They know the Nasus is top, and they know the rest of the team is mid lane. Kane getting a little bit more vision for Bosco's side with his movement. It's a slow onto the Nico, not able to do anything off of that though. Just a little bit more pressure onto the tier 1 bottom tower. Kane just looking for an opportunity to strike. You could tell he's anxious to make a play.
Red team's turret has
Bosco able to take that tier 1 bottom tower there. Essentially for free. And the E6ers aren't necessarily able to defend that. And Bosco slowly but surely making a push onto the inhibitor. You see the Nasus is rotating towards the bot lane. All 5 members of Bosco are in the bot. Nico does pop her ultimate, catches 2. Kane goes down, Vex as well. It doesn't look very good for Bosco right now. Bosco may be forced to retreat, but Zaya gets a kill on the Rakan in return. Xin Zhao pops his ultimate, unfortunately does catch the Alistar on Zaya in return as well. So Bosco down to just Aatrox, and this hit is getting really up there. Does almost manage to go down, but Jinx able to get the kill onto Aatrox in the end. And that is an ace for the Indy E6ers on Bosco. Now, fortunately for Bosco, Baron isn't up for another 3 minutes. However, this dragon, actually, they may not be able to get this dragon. I just took a look at the timer. It is just at about 35 seconds, which should be just more than enough time for some of Bosco members to go ahead and get to the dragon pit, and apply a little bit more pressure to go ahead and contest that. But overall, it looks like Bosco has some kinks to work out in their team fighting situation. Either that or their positioning. You know, Nico was able to catch out a few Bosco members with her ultimate, and that just gave a huge advantage towards the E6ers. But Jackie Love not able to pull out a clutch this time around. Bosco falls 1-5 there. Looks like the dragon is up. Indy E6ers are trying to make a play here, but we do have some Bosco members on the back of the dragon. So this dragon is going down. Fortunately, Kane not able to steal that with his W, and the E6ers run off with the second dragon of their second dragon of the game. Looks like the gold advantage is down below under 2,000. Unfortunately, Indy E6ers are closing the gap little by little. Taking a look at the CS again, Aatrox is up on the Nasus 210 and 169, but looking at this Nasus' KDA, he is 3-1 and 14, which means he is doing really good in this match. He does have Thorn Mail on, so he is really tanky. He has been farming, so that Q should be doing quite a bit of damage and heal. They do need to watch out for that. They don't necessarily have a tank trader like they did last game in the Vayne. But the Xayah 5-3 and 9 should be able to do enough damage to take him out if they team fight properly. We do know that in that Baron team fight, both Xayah and the Kayn, which are their biggest damage dealers next to the Aatrox, did go down relatively early, so they weren't really able to utilize the damage that they've been working on this game. So hopefully on this next team fight that happens, Bosco is able to get a better positioning and protect their carries just a little bit better. Looks like despite being ahead, Indy Sixers are still kind of turtling on the map. Bosco, 4 members into the mid lane. Vex down at bot, just CSing a little bit, making sure the wave doesn't get too close to their base. Hopefully they have a wave to push out on in case that they do win a fight and aren't just left kind of hanging to dry there without any minions to fall back on. Xayah, wave clearing, always good in that mid lane. Kayn separates from the group, goes towards his bot side jungle. May be looking for a clear, may just be looking to clear some wards. Not completely sure here. But nothing too major on the map. We do have the Baron spawning in just a few seconds here, so this should be a super big objective that both teams should be leaning towards. We could potentially see a fight coming out in the next few minutes here. Baron is now up. Both teams heading towards the red side of the dragon. They both realize how important of an objective this is. So all 10 members either in mid or in the jungle. Getting a little bit of ward clearance there. Unfortunately, that ward doesn't work in the chem fog. Has to be a red ward. Or at least what I read in the patch notes. I'm not sure if that's completely accurate, but Kayn a little bit separated from his team. He is on the top side there, just providing a little bit of pressure onto the E6ers, making sure that they don't try to flank from the top there. And we are just kind of at a standstill. It's kind of like a little standoff here. Both teams are just waiting to bounce onto the other. Both sides are just waiting which team is going to break first. Both looking for an opportunity to engage. This could potentially be the fight that decides the game. We are 33 minutes into the game. That means that respawn timers are super, super high, and whichever team falls first means that the other team is going to get Baron. With that Baron, they should be able to push to end the game with respawn timers being as high as they are right now. But looks like the pressure kind of dissipates a little bit for Bosco as they kind of split off into the map. Kayn is in the bot side, Vex in the top side, Aatrox in the top river, and the bot laners are in mid lane. Looks like the E6ers dissipating a little bit of tension as well, backing up into the tower. Eerily quiet on the rift right now. Bosco up just about 3,000 gold up on the E6ers, making up for their kill deficit via CS, as they have been for almost this entire game, I'd say. Kayn clearing some wards up in the Baron pit. They do notice this little marker right here that Kayn is there. They do know that he is in the top side now. Dragon spawning in about 25 seconds puts another objective on the map for both sides to lean towards. Now this could also potentially be a play in which Bosco decides to go for one objective and the E6ers decide to go for another one. We have seen this in professional play before. We've seen this in some of our games before, where teams just decide to abandon one objective in favor for the other. Doesn't look like Dragon is worth much, though. It's not the point for Dragon Soul. So we're actually looking at the position of Kaysen here. He is behind them on their side of the jungle, but they do not know this yet. Looks like they caught up. Unfortunately, Kaysen's plan there to kind of flank is foiled just a little bit, but able to get out safely with the support of his teammates. Rakan actually popping his ultimate, luring 2 members of Bosco in, but overestimating or overstepping does go down almost immediately. Vex unfortunately does go down. Kayn goes down in return, but Xayah able to get a little bit more damage than that. Nasus is on top of the Xayah. Nobody there to help him from Bosco. Xayah does go down to the Nasus, but Bosco able to get a kill on the Xin Zhao in return. Aatrox kind of forced into a corner there, trying to make his way out of there. Alistar can't do much on his own. Looks like it is another lost team fight for Bosco there, and they do get ace, which means that this is a window for the Indy E6ers to either secure the Dragon or the Baron, or perhaps even both if they have the damage to do so. And slowly but surely, the Indy E6ers are closing the gold gap that used to be over 4,000 gold against Bosco. Looks like they're making their way towards the Baron pit. They only have 3 members. Looks like Rakan is on his way back. The Xin Zhao is still 6 seconds into his respawn timer, so he won't be able to make it back in time for that, but he should be able to respawn just in time to get the Baron buff. And it doesn't look like Bosco's going to be able to make it in time to kind of stop it, unless Roberto just has some unheard of speed. But E6ers do secure the Baron buff and manage to get that buff on all 5 of their members. Bosco is in trouble. They need to make some changes. They need to make some changes fast if they do want to win this game. They are now down 20-28, and the gold is just about dead even here. The gold lead that Bosco had been able to retain throughout the game is now gone, so a lot of pressure going onto Bosco here. The CS advantages that they did have in lane are essentially gone as well. Aside from the jungle CS, we do have 280 CS on Kane to Xin Zhao's 165, but it doesn't necessarily matter too much when you have a Nasus that's 5, 116, and a Nico that's 12, 4, and 9. So Bosco have to play this really smart. If you get a pick off, they know that they don't necessarily win team fights, so they have to play this smart somehow. Kane in a really bad position right now in the back line of the enemy team, but fortunately he does have his W, and he's able to come out of there relatively easy. Zaya gets an W popped onto her. Unfortunately, she was able to ult out, get out safely. Kane still in the back line, kind of just teasing the enemy team. Pops ult onto the Nico. Nico pops for Zanya's and gets out just in time. Almost a kill onto the Nico. Really well played by Roberto though. The Q is without his team right now. Looks like Vex actually popping a huge ultimate, gets an instant kill onto the Nico. That enables Bosco just pushing on the rest of the team without having to worry too much of a damage burst by the Nico. Bosco gets a kill onto the Jinx, onto the Xin Zhao. Nasus doesn't even able to take one down. Zaya kiting for her life. Nasus pulled back by the Aatrox W, and Bosco gets a huge ace onto the E6ers, and this could potentially be the push that they can end the game with. Looks like respawn timers that are over a minute. Xin Zhao did go down early. He only has about 30 seconds left. But this should be more than enough time that Bosco needs to end the game. Huge play coming in from Kaysen. Gets a huge flank onto the backline. Gets huge damage on the Nico and just instantly deletes her. Looks like Bosco able to sweep the E6ers in a 2-0 series in a game that looked like it was turning out for the worst. They're able to turn that on its head, and Bosco comes out on top of the E6ers. Now, fortunately for Bosco, this is big. This essentially means that Bosco has entered the top 8 of the entire just bracket of Play VS. I believe this is Play VS. But they are top 8 in the state with that game that they have just turned around here in the second match of the series. They have gone 2-0 against the Indy E6ers, and with that, having entered the next stage of playoffs, which means that we are now considered top 8 in the state of California. So this is really huge. I'm sure the guys are up over in Cloud 9 right now, and it's a huge moment for Bosco. So congratulations to the League of Legends Gold team. Looking forward to the next playoff rounds, I believe next week on Monday and Wednesday, I believe their games are. And potentially if they do make it through those next 2 rounds, those next 2 rounds, I believe it is the finals after that. So hoping for the best. Congratulations, Bosco, League of Legends Gold team. Excellent work, excellent job making a comeback there. And congrats. Hope you guys keep that streak going. Thank you for watching.